Today, we have travelled to Seaton, Delaval Hall. It's a Grade 1 listed country house in Northumberland, just near to the coast of Newcastle upon Tyne, located between Seaton Sluice and Seaton Delaval. It was designed by Sir John Vanbrugh in 1718 for the then Admiral George Delaval. It is now owned by the National Trust. Since completion of the house back in 1728, it has had an unfortunate history. Neither architect nor patron lived to see its completion. It then passed through a succession of heirs, being lived in only intermittently. Most damaging of all, in 1822, the central block was gutted by fire and has since then remained an empty shell. The 18th century gardens of the hall are Grade 2 listed. The Delaval family had owned the estate since the time of the Norman conquest. Admiral George Delaval bought the estate from an impoverished kinsman, Sir John Delaval, in 1717. George Delaval had made his fortune from capturing prize ships while in the Navy, and had also served as a British envoy during the reign of Queen Anne. In 1718, he called on architect Sir John Vanbrugh to advise him on how to modernise and enhance the existing mansion. Upon viewing the site, Vanbrugh felt he could do nothing and advised complete demolition of all except the ancient chapel, Church of Our Lady. Vanbrugh's advice was taken, and the construction work was completed in 1728. 5 years after the death of the Admiral. The resulting new mansion was the last country house Vanbrugh designed, and it is regarded as one of his finest works. On completion, the Admiral's nephew, Francis Drake Delaval, inherited the property and moved in immediately. In 1775, the Newcastle portrait artist William Bell made 2 paintings of the hall depicting the north and south fronts with some artistic license, including wings that were never actually constructed. Bell also painted portraits of many of the residents of the house at that time, earning him a patronage of Lord Delaval. In 1822, the central block was gutted by a fire said to have been caused by jackdaws nesting in the chimneys of the section of the southeast wing closest to the main house. The house was partially restored by the architect John Dobson between 1862 and 1863. When the central block was re-roofed, although it still remained a shell. During the Second World War, the hall was used to house German prisoners of war. In more modern times, the hall was opened to the public for the first time in 1950. Further restoration was completed in 1959 and the early 1960s. From 1968 to 1984, medieval banquets were held in the original kitchen of the hall. However, the house was to remain unoccupied until the 1980s, when, after a period of 160 years, Edward Delaval, Henry Ashley, 22nd Baron Hastings, moved into the West Wing. Subsequently, Delaval Ashley, the 23rd Baron, wishing to preserve the future of the hall and to encourage greater public access, began discussions with the National Trust. On the 1st of September 2008, the National Trust launched an appeal for $6.3 million to bring the hall and its gardens and grounds into the Trust custody. The hall once again opened to visitors after the National Trust announced in December 2009 that its appeal had been successful. The hall was closed to visitors in 2018 as part of a £3.7 million refurbishment funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund. In October 2021, the hall was one of 142 sites across England to receive part of a £35 million injection into the government's Culture Recovery Fund, specifically for its sea walk walls and covers,